Amy, you were testifying as I walked in the door from voting. Remind me the policy differences between sorghum and other crops that negatively affect planting decisions when it comes time to plant.
Well, I do want to say we're happy to have you here, Senator Moran, because sorghum is so resilient. We are the resource-conserving crop. Oftentimes, when it looks as though nothing else can be grown, sorghum gets thrown in the mix. Because sorghum can produce. As I said, it's resilient. It is not weather immune, but oftentimes we get punished for that because we can't tolerate such harsh climates. So I would say that would be the number one concern, and it's hard to balance that because we're very proud of the resilience and what sorghum does for a rotation, and yet oftentimes we are punished for the great things that we can do and can produce a crop regardless.
Thank you. Mr. Reed, I was always proud that Kansas for a long time was the fastest growing cotton state in the country. Acres, it shares the drought resistance that has been desperately needed in our state. What is it that, what unique factors to other commodities do you face to make sure that Kansas and other places can continue to be cotton producing?
Well, cotton is a very resilient crop, similar to sorghum. You can put high inputs into it and yield, or even in certain parts of droughty areas, low inputs, it will still produce a crop. Y'all have done very well in Kansas and outproducing our high input areas in droughty areas. I'm very proud of the Kansas cotton farmers. Cotton is a little unique versus corn and soybeans in that we don't have the underlying domestic consumption of biofuels, and cotton is exported, a large portion of it. And I guess right now we feel like as cotton producers we're kind of playing against a stacked deck. We're subject to, a lot of times America consumes 25 million bales of cotton. We produce 12 to 14, but we feel like we're getting thrown to the world market where our competition doesn't, and this is true across all commodities, but a lot of times our competition pays less per day than we pay per hour to employees. We're shipping the same equipment that we're using they're able to use it as a substantial reduction in cost with no emissions equipment. So we're being asked to compete on this world market, but being held to standards, and we're proud of that. I say that we can produce the highest quality, environmental friendly crop with worker protection, safety standards in the world, but it's been difficult for us to compete against the world on price.
Thank you. It suggests to me one of the things I'm hopeful to be an active participant in the drafting of a farm bill and its discussion. And one of the things that I think that as a Kansan I would bring to the table is the importance of dealing with drought. And by that I mean crop insurance factors, features. Multiple year disasters are something that crop insurance has never been able to provide adequate indemnity. And it also means, in my view, conservation practices that can assist in regard to the consequences of drought, and research that helps us get the crops that are most capable of resisting and producing during a drought season. Anybody on the panel have any thoughts about drought and the Farm Bill? Just tell me I've said it correctly and I'm happy to move on. No, you don't need to, Amy.
I would say everything you said just a moment ago says sorghum. We're very proud of, again, we're the resource conserving crop, and we're thrilled that that's been recognized. And, you know, it just gives us the opportunity to speak to what farmers have done for years, continue to be. We're conservationists, and the proof is the fact that we have many generation farmers here. If we didn't do the job we did well, we wouldn't have many generation farmers here today. So everything you said, I'm proud to say sorghum fits that. Resource conserving, drought tolerant, as you know, Senator, living on top of the Ogallala Aquifer that is quickly declining. Water is top priority for us, and we continue to grow a good crop, weather permitting, even in those tough conditions.
Mr. Fealty, it would be a terrible mistake if I didn't talk about wheat and come from Kansas. As Senator the senator earlier indicated we compete with other states to produce the most wheat. Senator Hoeven and I seem to have competition on a number of things, and I wanted to talk about acres planted to wheat. First of all, to highlight drought. Our Kansas wheat production this year was the lowest production of wheat in Kansas since 1961. That has a significant consequence to our economy. And I wanted to hear from you what policies specific to wheat return the number of acres, increase the number of acres that would be planted. Price, I assume, is a significant component of planning decisions. But how can the Farm Bill help wheat in particular have a rebound in Kansas and elsewhere?
Well, as you mentioned, price is definitely the main driver, and in areas where there are other alternative crops in good conditions, wheat unfortunately does oftentimes get replaced in the cropping system. I do know that there is a lot of rotation that wheat is very beneficial in, especially up in northwest Kansas, and looking towards that to enhance the overall operation and profitability of the farm has definitely something that is something that we're working on.
We were on a mission with RMA to get the information necessary to reach the conclusion that wheat can be a cropping rotation plant.